Hey guys, this is Brian from The Endless Mission. Today we're going to take a look at using the lenses in the editor. So right now I have the editor open and I'm looking at our platformer template with my lenses active. The first thing I want to show you is if you look in the upper right hand corner of the screen, you will see something called the gizmo. The gizmo represents our game world on three axes. So there's an X, a Y, and a Z axis that represent the three-dimensional space of our world. If I hold down the right mouse button and look around, you'll see the gizmo start to move around. And what that's doing is it's showing me at any time what my camera orientation is relative to the world. Now let's take a look at an object in our game world. And to do that, I'm going to hold down right mouse button and use WASD to zoom in and look for our friend Capitan Blackclaw. Now you'll notice as I move through the world and my mouse hovers over different objects, they become highlighted. That tells me all the objects that I could inspect with the active lens. And if you've been in adventure mode, this is similar to the highlight effect that you get when you're walking around the adventure world with your lenses active. If I go ahead and look at Capitan Blackclaw and hover over her, she does get the blue highlight, which means the spatial lens applies to her. And if I click on her, up comes her information in this panel on the side. The spatial lens, just like in the adventure mode, lets me alter the position, rotation, and scale of objects in this game. And I can do that in a number of different ways. One way I can do it, if we start with position, is just by clicking on one of the numeric values over here on the panel and changing it. So I could change Capitan Blackclaw's position X to be, let's say, 82, and hit enter, and you'll see she'll move to another location. Or I could go and put in the original value and send her back. Capitan Blackclaw also has her own gizmo, and it's represented by these three arrows that come out of her little origin point there down by her feet. I can move Capitan Blackclaw using the gizmo in a couple of different ways. If I want to move her along just one axis, let's say the Z axis, I can click and hold on the corresponding arrow and move her back and forth. And what this does is moves her just along the Z axis, but keeps her position on the X and the Y axis basically the same, and that'll work on any one of the axes. I can also move her along all three axes at once by going right to this cube at the center of the gizmo, left clicking and holding on it, and I can move her around. And now her movement is totally free on all three axes, and I can move her. But pro tip, most of the time it's really hard to do that in a 3D world to get any sort of precision with where you're going to move or put her. So most of the time when I'm working as a designer, I'm moving only on one axis at a time, or I'm moving by altering values over here. Position is just one of the things we can see with the spatial lens, and I can see the other two tabs under that lens by rotating my mouse wheel while I'm hovering over this panel. So I can scroll down to rotation. You'll see the gizmo changes, and I can work with her rotation, what way she's facing, in the same way. And if I scroll down again, there is scale, and I can scale her up using these sliders, either uniformly or along just one axis. I can make her very tall and skinny, or using the gizmo, again, along just one axis or another, or uniformly. Lastly, I have other lenses that are available to me. So everything we just saw was the spatial lens. If I click over here on the physics lens, now I'm seeing her physics property, and I can alter things like her mass or how gravity applies to her. I can even, if I scroll down, alter her collider, which represents the box around her that the game uses to determine if she's bumping into something. So with your lenses active, you can explore the whole game world, see things that the current lens applies to, and change the values if you want to.